2 p.m. as we collaborate with local leaders, real estate investors, and nonprofits working together to provide hope and opportunity for those in need. Helping the Village Radio Show, empowering change one community at a time.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month, a service of the community scientist and Rise St. James. This month, we're focusing on lead, a heavy metal that's dense, soft, and poses serious health risks. In Cancer Alley, lead exposure from industrial emissions or contaminated soil can significantly increase cancer risks and other health problems. Stay informed and protect your health. For more information, visit risestjames.org.
Hello, I am Bishop Fred A. Caldwell Sr., host of the Know Your Bible International radio broadcast, which is heard here on WBOK 1230 a.m. each Sunday morning at 8 o'clock a.m. So join me here for a blessing, won't you?
Talk That. Knoll Education is all about awareness. Join Dr. Jakil Ross from New Schools for New Orleans to learn how our schools in Orleans Parish are performing academically compared to other parishes. Tune in for Talk That this Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 1230 a.m.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Who bring the power to the people, partner? Who bring the power to the hood home? Hey. 12:30 a.m. That's that. Tune into the reality check. Look. Who bring the power to the people, partner? Who bring the power to the hood home? Hey. 12:30. That's that. Tune into the reality check. Look.
Whoa, now. What's happening, good people? How's everybody? I'm hoping y'all doing all right. I'm hoping that you have made it through the storm. Oh, isn't that a song? Yeah, it is a song. I made it through the storm. I'm not going to try to sing it and do that some justice here. Yes, indeed. You made it through the storm. You're getting back to normal. The sun to come out. It's melting away your snow. Y'all got to go back to work. That's what you got to do. Act like you got to go back to work. And some of you thought you was going to have another vacation today. Until they said, no, we're going to come in late, but you got to go back to work. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. That's what they said. They ain't say that, though. Honestly, though, being precautious is one thing, but this one is a little bit too much for me. I know, Gerard, you know, we ain't used to that type of weather and yiddy. I know. Because I was like, boy, they should have been back to work yesterday. Should have been right back to work yesterday, but no. We shutting down schools. You ain't going to work. I'm like, okay. Nobody go back to work then. But y'all will be back on tomorrow. And then they were like, no. We need another date. But I got to tell you, traffic is horrendous. Traffic It's horrendous. They are supposedly opening up I-10 and all those 610 interchanges. I think they're going to open up the Crescent City Connection as well, because the Crescent City Connection right now is like one lane and it is crawling. If you got to come across the river, if you by any chance got to come across the river and you got to be here at a certain time, I'm going to tell you now. If you need to be, what time is it here now? It is about 1:30. And if you got to be here by 3 o'clock, if you're not leaving right now, you're more than likely going to be late. It's going to take you at least an hour to get across the river. So if you have not made plans to leave by now, whoever or whatever you're going to do, you might as well go ahead on and call them and tell them that you're going to be late. Because that is a traffic jam. Jam. Oh, jam. Traffic jam. It's a traffic jam for me, yeah. I know, bro. I just had to do it. I'm in that mood, man. I'm in that mood. I'm back in the studio. I'm in that mood. Jam.
No.
Oh, jam.
No.
Jam.
You
Bruh.
purposely waited for me to walk out.
I did.
The
I
room.
waited for you to leave out to do that, boy. I saw you going. I was surprised you heard me this time. But I guess I caught your ear when you went by the door. Mm-hmm. Jam. Oh, jam. But this traffic, I was talking about the traffic, though. Traffic terrible. Traffic terrible. Nothing but a jam. And one of my friends called me this morning. He was stuck on the CCC, on Crescent City Connection.
Oh.
And he was like impatient. He's like one of those that's impatient in traffic. I said, bro, you might as well go on and try to work on that right now because you ain't going nowhere. He said, gee, we are not moving. Now, what are these people doing? I said, you got one lane. That's a what, 4-5 lane highway and you on one lane? What you think? So this is ridiculous. And they don't have the HOV lanes open either. But supposedly now, they're supposed to be opening up the highways at 3 o'clock today. They're supposed to open up the highways today at 3 o'clock. Getting over here is a task. Because, usually I'm coming down I-10. You can't drive on I-10. Okay, so I'm coming from, let's see, Broad. Can't go over the Broad Street overpass. Okay, let me see if I can come down Carrollton. And if I come down Carrollton, I can make that left underneath the underpass and just hit the street, the side street. Can't turn left on the underpass. So you had to go down Carrollton where you could make a U-turn, come down again by Xavier at the other end of Xavier, and then come up by the UC, the University Center. So, yes, indeed. So it was interesting getting here. All right, so I saw on the internet, and I guess we'll have this conversation because I think we could probably talk about the weather all day long. I would say that the majority of the weather issues are going to be in the past, probably later on, at least by 3 o'clock today, because they're going to open up a lot of these roads and a lot of the snow and ice has melted off. It had melted off. I am a little surprised to hear all the different water systems losing water pressure because they're not used to it, and all the boil water advisories. It's not funny. It really is not funny, but I was like, wow, this little snow took everybody for a who-to-do. A who-to-do. This little snow Now imagine if you got that at least 2 or 3 times a year. And a cold front to go with it. Like, good Lord, that's something there. So, but I'm glad to know that everybody's safe and we didn't have any real big hiccups. I do know that we had a couple of fires. God bless all those folks that got caught up in some of those fires. I hope that you're making it out all right. Speaking of fires, coming up at 2 o'clock today, I think it's important that we talk to our friends on the West Coast. Well, what you mean, Gerard? So I planned, and I had done it early, and I started to cancel it because of the weather that we're having, but I think now is a better time, just as good as any, to find out what's going on the West Coast. So one of our friends who's out on the West Coast in one of those little towns by the fire that had to evacuate and probably lost some of her belongings, maybe even property, going to join us at 2 o'clock by phone to give us the insight so that we'll hear how this thing is going, what happened. She sent me some videos. Her name is Kimberly Gamel. Kimberly sent me a video the night the fire started, and she's in the car with one of her friends, and they're like, get out of here, get out of here. You can see the fire, how it had caught on to several different houses. You could also see the embers, how they were flying around. You can see all of that. I would play it and tell Jazz to put it up, but she got some profanity in it. Because they're just like riding down the street. All you see is smoke, the wind's blowing, and you see several different homes that are like infernos. And if I let you hear, you could hear the panic in their voice, because they were like, what in the world? We're not going to get out of this. Bleepity, 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 bleep. Yeah, it was a lot of bleeping. So that's what we saw. That's what we heard. And we're going to hear it from the horse's mouth, pardon the pun, today about 2 p.m. Mr. Harrell probably called in too. Mr. Harrell said they're doing fine. They're okay. But when I saw, probably yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, where the inclines or the valleys had caught on fire by the 405, that made me go, what? What? If you've been out in LA and you drive headed somewhere and you're on the 405, y'all know that being on the 405, you're not going to go nowhere quickly on the 405. You are going to be stuck in traffic, and that traffic going to crawl. You are not going anywhere quickly on the 405. So that's a concern. That is a concern. Because I just got to the point where I was like, wait a minute. Why are we just sitting here in the fire? Well, it didn't take long for criticism to start, too. Got to get into this story. Your governor is returning to Washington after skipping 2 fundraisers for Louisiana snowstorm victims. Governor Jeff Landry flew back to Washington on yesterday to resume activities there after spending the past 2 days in Louisiana overseeing the state government's response to big snowstorm. Before he returned to Louisiana on Monday, Landry had planned to spend about 10 straight days in Washington to attend the festivities related to the inauguration of President Trump, followed by Washington Mardi Gras. The return to Louisiana meant Landry missed several events in Washington, including the actual inauguration and 2 big dollar fundraisers organized for him there on Wednesday. Senator John Kennedy said, I think he made the right decision. The safety of our people comes first. So John Kennedy covered it for Landry at several events, including a fundraising dinner. Whether mayors and governors return home for a natural or man-made disaster, it can be tricky. Los Angeles' mayor is facing blowback for not returning from Ghana quicker than when wildfires hit the city recently. In Louisiana on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Landry received briefings at the State Emergency Operations Center in Baton Rouge from senior officials on how Louisiana was handling the biggest snowstorm in 130 years. The governor updated the media and the public once each day on road conditions and public safety. Above all else, he implored people to stay off icy and snow-covered roads to avoid accidents. So I guess the evaluation of how this situation of a snowstorm was handled can probably be armchair quarterback by all of us. I know that it could be armchair quarterback by me, because for me, all this talks about money and contracts makes me ask the question, did we get any of that? What? Yeah. It makes me ask the question, did any of us get a chance to participate? Did we hear any of us? So I guess the question had resonated a little bit louder than normal, because the following day after everybody started asking the question, I started hearing our Homeland Security personnel started talking about the people that were being deployed to help move some of this snow out of the way off our roads. Those folks that were being deployed were also DBEs. But in the terms that we sit around and we say, oh, DBEs, we really do need to know who we are talking about when we say DBEs. Because there is a definition that I don't think that we realize sometimes when we start talking about our disadvantaged business enterprises. A DBE classification does not necessarily mean that you are of another ethnicity. A DBE classification could also mean that you are a white woman. And as we learn some of these classifications, qualifications, we also learn that some of these folks are the wives, friends of, related to, aunties of those contractors that are putting their bids in for the entire contract. And then say, oh, and here's my DBE. I can work with my DBE. Doesn't necessarily mean it looks like you or me. So the classification of a DBE is sometime, I think, a farce. You're not in need. I say it this way, you're not in need, you're in greed. Trying to keep all the money Well, they're disadvantaged too. They got the disadvantage. Okay. We could go on about this and go on about this law all we want. But at the end of the year, this year, just like last year, the questions need to be asked and paid attention to by officials of how much of contracts that were handed out in the previous year, 2024, how much of that money went to DBEs. Because if I'm not mistaken, the percentile, the percentages that are supposed to be going to disadvantaged business enterprises is supposed to be at least a third, somewhere close to 33 to 35%, supposed to be going to DBEs. All right. Then here go the other part. I would like to take those percentages of DBEs and really break down the ownership of those DBEs, those persons that are supposed to be the CEOs. We're going to use the whole alphabet before it's all over with. Come on, somebody work with me on this one. We're going to break down those DBEs to see who the CEOs are to make sure that they are A-OKs. Because if they're not, then we are in loophole city. Loophole city. And that needs to be fixed. That really does. And I think that enough is enough. If we had somebody that had the balls, the gonads, the big hairy ones, to step up and say, this ain't right. And that's where I think that we are. So, should we be asking that question? Because I heard Sidney Torres on the news when we found out that Ivy Waste got a contract. And him and his boys had gotten out there to clean up the French Quarter. They had gotten out there. They got their bobcats, their backhoes, the young hoes, the old hoes. Oh, them the wrong hoes, Jazz. I'm sorry, I had the wrong hoes. He had the backhoes, the front loaders, and they were out there working. And I saw how easy it was for it to come out of his mouth that the way he got that contract was he went and asked for it. So he got that emergency fund, correct? That was the emergency funds that were set aside for them to get out there and do the work. We don't have nobody that can get out there and do that. We don't have nobody that can go out there and ask for that type of contract. We can't ask for it. Because it looked like the meat. Now, maybe I'm just, maybe I need to get some drops in my eyes or something. Because it looked like to me the guys that were out there doing the work looked like me and you. Driving the backhoe, the front loader, the bobcats. They looked like me and you. We doing the work. You just went out there and asked for the money. Is that how it go? Won't have nobody that can go and ask for the money? Nobody? If that's the case, we are sad. So we didn't have anybody that could do that type of work. We don't have the equipment. Okay. If it's fine by you, it's fine by me. I just had a problem with $168,000 to get somebody at $500 per truck to come in and shovel the snow. To scrape them roads. And we ended up with a contract of $168,000, and we have nobody locally prepared. Yup. All right, we got to take a break. Y'all, we got to take the break here. We're going to come back. Have some more conversation in just a few minutes. Call somebody, let them know we're on the air. We are live today. We're taking some telephone calls. 504-582-9422 is the number to get in contact with us. Back in the studio. Woo, woo. We back in the studio, y'all. More coming up. Everybody hold tight.
This is Monica Pierre along with Sally Ann Roberts Daybone, co-host of Your Power is On.
Your Power is On gospel music show is coming on at a new time. Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for music that feeds the spirit. Get your Sunday on.
Right here on WBOK 1230 a.m. and WBOK1230.com, the station you listen to
all day long.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor. We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
I'm Howard Robertson, founder and creator of the Play Ode app. Back in the day, we used to ask, how you living? And that's still a relevant question today. Listening to good stuff helps you live well, like what you hear on the Play Ode app. ODE stands for Our Digital Entertainment, so you enjoy the best radio stations playing the best classic R&B, hip-hop, gospel, smooth jazz, news, sports, and podcasts. And new sounds are coming at you in 2025, so don't wait or hesitate. Download PLAYODE today.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a special shout out to our partner, the All-State Sugar Bowl. During the holiday break, over 30 teachers had the opportunity to ride in the New Year's Eve parade, and boy, did they have a blast. In addition, we had over 60 teachers attend the All-State Sugar Bowl game. Out of the 60, 11 teachers received a $1,000 gift card to purchase needed supplies to enhance the learning experiences for their students. Thank you, All-State Sugar Bowl, for your commitment to NOLA's teachers.
Hello, I am Bishop Fred A. Caldwell Sr., host of the Know Your Bible International radio broadcast, which is heard here on WBOK 1230 AM each Sunday morning at 8 o'clock a.m. So join me here for a blessing, won't you?
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Hey, Pontchartrain Park. Thanks for listening to WBOK.
Who bring the power to the people, partner? Who bring the power to the hood home? Hey. That's that. Tune into the reality check. Look. Who bring the power to the people, partner? Who bring the power to the hood home? Hey. That's that. Tune into the reality check. Look.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. About 5 minutes away from news time here. Let me go ahead and give you this information too, so that you'll have a list of what's going on. I'm hoping that a lot of people don't have to be moving around in this stuff here, but if you are, the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Safety announced that crews are hoping to open Interstate 10 in about an hour. So it's about an hour and 5 minutes. So they're going to do it about 3 p.m. today. Crews have cleared snow and ice from I-10, but have still not cleared all the on-ramps before reopening. Snow will pile up on side of the interstates until it melts, so drivers should avoid distractions while driving, according to the DOTD. Causeway reopened to the public on the southbound side, and one lane on the northbound lane is open to traffic on the causeway. Huey P. Long also reopened completely. Crews are making progress to clearing Interstate 55. So for the metro area, US 90, Claiborne Avenue, Jefferson Avenue, Danziger Bridge, Huey P. Long Bridge, the St. Charles Parish Overpass, and DeZalman's Bridge, all open. The Woodland Highway Bridge between General de Gaulle, LA 406 in Orleans Parish is open. US 61, which is Airline Highway from New Orleans west to Baton Rouge, the only route over the spillway, that's open. I-310, Laplace, access from LA 18 to LA 48, open. LA 46 to the St. Claude Bridge is open. Lafitte LaRose Bridge is open. Somebody really tried to get in contact with me. US 11 Bridge from New Orleans to Slidell. That is going to be the alternative to the twin span. So Highway 11, the bridge from New Orleans to Slidell, that's the way you need to come. Intercoastal Waterway Bridge, LA 407 is open. I-510, the Green Bridge in Orleans Parish is now open. All northbound traffic must exit on Almonester Boulevard. Drivers will not be able to connect to Interstate 510. I-510 and LA 47, the Mississippi River Gulf Outlet on the South Shore is open. Chef Mentor Highway from LA 433 to US 11 is open. And US 90 between Willowdale Boulevard and Lake Oak Boulevard in Jefferson and St. Charles Parish is open. On the North Shore, US 190, St. Tammany to Hammond and west to Baton Rouge, open. Highway 11 in Slidell, open. I-12 through North Shore and Florida parishes is open. US 51 route from Ponchatoula to Laplace. I-10 route from Slidell to the east. I-59, LA-21, LA-22, LA-10, LA-16, and LA-445. LA-308 between 7th Street and Hebert Street in Lafourche Parish is open. LA 315. Dularge Bridge from Concord Bypass in Houma. The navigational bridge is also open. So some of these places are partially open. Some of them are fully open. All right. So that's what you need to be able to check out. I would call anybody at the Department of Transportation Development, the Highway Patrol, somebody that has a whole lot more information than what we do. We're going to be checking in to make sure, because I do know that probably in the next hour, they're going to open up I-10, and we need to make sure that we give what parts of I-10 will be open, okay? We shall see. We shall see. Tell you what we'll do. We'll get into news real quick. We'll come back, have some more conversation, go out to the West Coast, because one of the things we have not done was explore what it is to see, hear, and hear from the folks that are living through this evacuation of fires, living through the horror of knowing that your property will not be there when you get back, or when you get back, find out that everything had burned up. We'll be talking with Kimberly Gamel in just a few minutes, y'all. Everybody hold tight. More coming up right here on WBOK.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Reality Check. Weekdays 1 to 4 p.m.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Police now say 2 people are dead and 2 others are injured after a shooting at a Nashville, Tennessee high school this morning. They add 2 female students were shot by a 17-year-old male student. The shooter then turned the gun on himself. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is issuing an emergency order to prepare burn areas for rain, directing crews to clear debris, shore up hillsides, and protect the stormwater system from fire-related pollutants. Refugee flights to the U.S. have stopped after President Trump suspended the State Department's program, leaving thousands of Afghan refugees, including vetted ones, at risk. Some are now stranded abroad. And Barnstable County, Massachusetts is honoring Jeanne Morrison, chair of its Human Rights Advisory Commission, with the Martin Luther King Jr. Day Award for her decades of work advancing equity and justice on Cape Cod. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a special shout out to our partner, the All-State Sugar Bowl. During the holiday break, over 30 teachers had the opportunity to ride in the New Year's Eve parade, and boy, did they have a blast. In addition, we had over 60 teachers attend the All-State Sugar Bowl game. Out of the 60, 11 teachers received a $1,000 gift card to purchase needed supplies to enhance the learning experiences for their students. Thank you, All-State Sugar Bowl, for your commitment to NOLA's teachers.
Yo, turn it up. It's Gerard on the air, spitting truth in the booth. We ain't going nowhere. New Orleans City got us hard in the beat, but corruption creeping in, gotta take back the street. But corruption creeping in, gotta take back the street. From the French Quarter vibes to the Ninth Ward grind, he's the voice of the people, yo, he's one of a kind. Talking about the struggle, the hustle, the pain, but with each word he drops, he's bringing power to the game. Gerard on the radio, calling out the lies, bringing light to the dark, keeping hope in our eyes. He's the voice of the people, making changes unfold. In the city of NOLA, we're reclaiming our soul. Try to silence the truth, but he's loud and clear. From the bayou to the block, everyone can hear. Got the people united, it's a movement, no doubt. With his mic in hand, he's breaking all the clout. City eat the official scheming, yeah, they playing it slick. But Gerard's on the line and he's ready to kick. For the schools and the streets, he's fighting the fight. With a heart full of passion, he's igniting the night. Gerard on the radio, calling out the lies, bringing light to the dark, keeping hope in our eyes. He's the voice of the people, making changes unfold. In the city of NOLA, we're reclaiming our soul. From the jazz in the streets to the gumbo pot, he's the pulse of the city, giving all he's got. Together we rise, united we stand. With Gerard on the radio, we're taking back our land. So tune in, y'all, let the truth resonate. With Gerard on the mic, we're rewriting our fate. In New Orleans, the power is ours to embrace. Keep it real, keep it loud, let's uplift this place. keys to the gumbo pot. He's the pulse of the city, giving all he's got. Together we rise, united we stand. With Gerard on the radio, we're taking back our land. So tune in, y'all, let the truth resonate. With Gerard on the mic, we're rewriting our fate. In New Orleans, the power is ours to embrace. Keep it real, keep it loud, let's uplift this place. Gerard on the radio, calling out the lies, bringing light to the dark, keeping hope in our eyes. He's the voice of the people, making changes unfold. In the city of Noya, we're reclaiming our soul. Yeah, tuning out, let the truth resonate. With Gerard on the mic, we're rewriting our fate. In New Orleans, the power is ours to embrace. Keep it real, keep it loud, let's uplift this place. Gerard on the radio, calling out the lies, bringing light to the dark, keeping hope in our eyes. He's the voice of the people, making changes unfold. In the city of Noya, we're reclaiming our soul. Yeah, let the truth resonate with Gerard on the mic. We're rewriting our fate. In New Orleans, the power is ours to embrace. Keep it real, keep it loud, let's uplift this place. Yeah, yeah.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Gerard Stevens with you. It is Friday. Yes, indeed. All the folks are still trying to get over the snow. That has been very funny to me. It has been funny to me, but it ain't funny. It's funny because when you talk about somebody that has had this much snow, you're usually like, oh, okay, whatever, in other places. But here, it's like we just got out of a blizzard. Yes, we did. So I'm glad to know that everybody's doing all right as this snow clears up. Please drive with care. Just about an hour now, they say they're going to open up Interstate 10 so that you can get your driving on. I will tell you this, too. Some folks are still driving around and driving crazy. Slow down. You have no idea what it is for your car to hit an ice patch, especially in some of these areas that have had no sunlight at all, just straight up shade. So please slow down a little bit, be courteous to your friends and other neighbors, and make sure that you are safe, all right? One of the things that we've been talking about, that we've been bringing to the airwaves, is what happened out in Los Angeles. But we have not had anybody really on the air to give us all the details that will give you some idea of what it is that is happening and what they're still going through. This is not over. Some places burned down to the ground, to the studs of the house. And in some places, some of those aren't even standing. Joining us right now by phone on the West Coast, out in Los Angeles County, Miss Gamel is with us. Miss Kimberly Gamel. I'm sorry. How you doing, Kimberly?
I am good. How are you?
Good. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it, because I was listening to you the other day and I was like, holy cow.
Yeah. You know, actually, I'm not on the West Coast. I was making my way to New Orleans, so I'm in Atlanta in a Starbucks. I couldn't get to you guys. Your airport was not accepting guests, so I was trying to be on station with you.
Oh, you the world traveler for real. Mm-hmm.
I was trying to make it there. Plus, a nice reprieve from Pasadena, Altadena. It's been, yeah, I don't even have the words. It's been. I'll stop there.
So can we start from the beginning? Because look, I know that sometimes when you relive some of the stuff, it can be traumatic. But
Sure.
are you in acceptance of what happened? Or are you still saying what just happened here?
So, you know what is interesting? I just saw the gentleman who called me, I think the producer, director from the show.
Mhm.
I just let him know that I forwarded you quite a few of my own personal videos,
Yeah, right.
images that were taken
Mhm.
that the news and the media still are not sharing with the public. It was really, it was hectic. I mean, it was really crazy. We definitely are used to fires in Altadena and Pasadena community. California, everyone knows, can be really, really windy. We were not prepared for what we experienced a week and a half ago at all. I do believe myself personally, after living through it, it was very traumatic. My cousin's house blew up in front of us. That happened, and then trying to alert neighbors on the other side of town after that happened to us, and we tried to get back to get to my house to get more things and just let people know. It was really, the city was pitch black because by then all of the electricity was out. My voice is starting to tremble, so I'm sorry. I don't know what it is to say to someone to drive through your entire city and it be destroyed by fire. I know that you guys experienced Hurricane Katrina, and I definitely don't have any experience with hurricanes or tornadoes. I can tell you that the devastation, the magnitude of loss, and I don't want to mitigate Palisades. That's on another side of town. That's a very, very rich, expensive town on the other side of the Los Angeles airport, on the Malibu, the Pacific Ocean Highway coast. So there's a lot of loss there. They too lost a city. However, that area is not as large as Altadena, and it definitely isn't as heavily populated with African Americans. So it has just been really tragic for our entire community. The economy is definitely going to change. I can't possibly imagine what even a rebuild is going to look like. We have all started receiving messages yesterday from an agency that locates families to Florida. So it's starting to be an interesting time. I hear the president is on his way to California. I'm not certain if he's coming to Pasadena. Our governor did come yesterday to Altadena, but yeah, it's complete devastation. The idea that people will be able to rebuild again, I don't know, because the time that it's going to take for the clearing of the land, how FEMA has to come in, and then all the arborists have to come in. It was a very beautiful community in terms of like trees and mountain-esque and mountain landscape, and so then there will have to be arborists, and you have a lot of people who are already, I'm 55, so you have a lot of people who are already moving close to retirement, or their parents are still living. That's a long process. As you guys know, you have to deal with contractors, permits, tax assessors, like all of the different things. And so many people have bought their homes a time ago. So a lot of people are facing insurance challenges now where they did not. So say they paid off their house 5 years ago, or even 5 years ago, their home was worth maybe $499,000, where today the value of that home before our fires would be at 1.2, 1.3 million.
All right.
So they're still carrying insurance on the dwelling of the home. They didn't reassess and have that rebuilt. And then there's also, going to be the challenges of just like if you inherited a family home, if your parents, because there was just no way to project what Altadena was going to do. So I think in the late 70s, early 80s, my parents bought a home for $75,000. Well, that home a couple years ago is $1.2 million.
Wow.
That was the worth of it a couple of years ago. So there was no way to be able to project how much growth and retail capital, how much money these homes were going to be worth in such a period of time. And so I don't know, because it's also the type of community where none of the houses look exactly alike. It's not cookie cutter in the way that most suburban kind of cities would look.
Yeah, you explained that to me earlier, and I was like, wow, you one home you got might look like it's from a ranch style. The other one might look like it's more contemporary, but the other one was another design. So you have all these different designs in houses in an area that was allowed to say, okay, so they're not cookie cutter.
No, not at all. A very charming community. if your audience even would like to Google, I'm sure that they still have plenty of images up of Altadena and what the community looked like. But yes, you could have a Spanish style next door to a Mediterranean, next door to a colonial, next door to a Tudor. And I think that was a lot of the beauty and the charm of Altadena, is that we weren't a cookie cutter kind of like neighborhood. We had some incredible architects, Black architects, architects from all over the world to design homes in our city. And nothing about the neighborhoods are like, and I travel a lot. I haven't visited a lot of places where I can say, and not just because I'm from Altadena, but the rich diversity, not just in the architecture, but in the community itself. So it's going to be, I can't even imagine what the materials, even speaking to contractors recently, a lot of the materials are not going to be available. If they are available, it's going to be astronomical, far more than what their insurance is going to cover. So, and you have a whole town, and not just our town, you have Palisades. And now if you guys have been watching the news, on the other side, which is west of Altadena, Pasadena, you have like that part of the Pacoima Valley, or like Ventura County, which is like Calabasas, Santa Clarita. So they're all ablaze right now. And I think it's at, 60% contained the last time I looked.
And I know that they were talking about the blazes really coming down the valley and getting close to the 405. Which I was like sitting there saying to myself, if you've ever driven or ever been on the 405, once you're on it and you don't have an exit, you're sitting there.
Yeah.
You can't move.
No, you can't. It is gridlock for certain, especially during, regular traffic hours, which now in California, I think we probably have to be one of the cities that has the worst traffic. The 405 runs that extension through like Brentwood, Westwood, West Los Angeles. It's the connector to Los Angeles Airport. So it can be a problem if people are stuck on the freeway. Hopefully they'll do a much better job of their approach, because I did send you some images with some timestamps. One of the biggest challenges for a lot of our community and that we've been discussing in the town halls is the gross negligence in alerting. So Altadena, the way it's set up, so most of what they showed on the news was the street called Lake, right? Like that's the most popular common north to south street that runs through the town. So usually east of Altadena is a little bit, it's more highly populated, white, Asian, it's diverse. You definitely have a lot of affluent Black people. We grew up on the east side of Altadena, but the west side of Altadena is really where most of your Black families purchased their homes and where they lived. So you had the police driving through with bullhorns telling people to get out at the last minute. And then on the west side of Altadena, well, that wasn't happening. And they knew that this fire was not contained.
Wait. You said it was not happening?
No, it was not happening.
That sounds disturbing.
Quite disturbing. And for people who are familiar with Altadena, Pasadena, so we have the Rose Bowl, we have Caltech. Caltech is where all the scientists, and they handle all the seismic, everything about the earthquakes. And then you have JPL, which is Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So for me as an Altadena resident, we've begun with we're calling it the magical jumping fire, because when you think about a community, north to south, east to west, that could take you in light traffic, maybe 15 to 20 minutes to go the entire, because I'm not familiar. I was going to look up the miles, the actual miles, to get through the city, right? We're talking far east to far west, and then north to south. So where the fire basically stopped was at a street called Woodbury, which divides the cities between Altadena and Pasadena. So if you have fire, of course, Sky Daddy runs the fire. I mean, the winds we don't control, I believe. But if they knew that the winds were going to be at 90 miles an hour, at 8 o'clock p.m., you already had the whole Eaton Canyon destroyed. You showed on the news that it was 0% contained. There's also another image that I sent you where I took a screenshot of the television where it says that they told East Altadena, north of Altadena Drive, mandatory evacuation. Well, I'm not a physicist, but I did take physics as a senior in high school. They have plenty of formulas for velocity and force. You know that the winds were getting to 90 miles an hour. the street, it doesn't. I just can't imagine that they couldn't forecast, or they didn't ask everyone to evacuate their homes. Like, it wasn't equitable. It definitely wasn't an equitable situation. And most of our we're small in terms of departments, how many departments we had. LA County came on, they came to the town hall, and they discussed how, they were shorthanded because they actually had sent a lot of our fire support to Palisades earlier in the day. Which doesn't make sense because we are a high fire. When the winds kick up, our fires usually kick up on the mountainside.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting to me that they would, having this come down the pipeline, that they would send, the majority of our department to another city, which is an hour away without traffic, 45 to 50 minutes away without traffic. So we literally had to wait for 800 rangers to come, fire rangers, which are it's part of the prison system. So they have like this fire ranger program when you're in low, I forget the name of it, but you're not high security. And so you have the opportunity to participate in this program, and you learn how to be like a fire ranger. So they brought 800 fire rangers down to fight the fire. But even at the speed of the wind and how fast the fire was moving, if they would have had all departments hands on deck, they wouldn't have been able to fight the wind. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions, a lot of angry residents. I know that they're reporting low numbers. We still, at the Pasadena Rose Bowl, it is a camp set up for, like a military-based camp for the National Guard and the fire department.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still in the city. I believe they're saying that the fires now are, 78% contained. I'm not. When I looked, I think yesterday before I left, I think that's where it was at, maybe 78%. I'm sorry for the background. I'm in Starbucks.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. We can hear you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I gotta ask Kimberly. One of the things too that kind of threw me for a loop was to hear the fire chief for LA County, because I think that she ended up going against the mayor.
Yeah.
And talking about there's no way in the world that we could have kept up with a budget cut of over $17 million.
Right.
Which I was surprised to hear her make that statement. And when she did, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be an interesting conversation off of camera between the mayor and the fire chief. And she was like, nope, we're not going to fire her or let her go. But she basically said, there was no way in the world that we'd be able to keep up with a $17 million budget cut in the fire department's budget.
So there's so many different things happening, right? And now we're getting into politics. However, that Los Angeles last year, we have a black female mayor, Karen Bass.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not certain, I haven't seen the LA County, I don't remember what nationality or race she is, but they are starting to put or place blame, or suggesting that Karen could have done a better job. She could have done, all these different things. Again, there's all these different stories running, right? So Ben Crump has been in Pasadena. They've been hosting tons of information, advocacy setups for families to come, because really the big campaign right now is for black families not to sell their property or not to sell their homes. Because you can imagine, I don't know if you've ever lost a home or been a part of a fire, you have all these, before you can make it to your house, you have
the carpetbaggers are coming in. The carpetbaggers are coming in.
Right, ready. And so they are really, really, that is like the huge campaign about really trying to make sure that, that middle class, that Black Americans can still live in Altadena, or preserve their homes or rebuild their homes.
Can you give me a little background though on Altadena too, because I think it's important that folks that don't know anything about Altadena should know. How does this black family, I'm speaking about your family or others, end up in this area of the county of LA, where you could buy a house for $75,000, but 20 years later, it's worth $1.7 million.
So when my parents bought the home that they bought, that was a lot of money, I think, in the late, I was born in 69, and they had already had their first home. So the home probably was a lot cheap. Their first home was probably a lot cheaper, probably like 25, 28,000. Somebody could do like the history on the numbers, but it was a lot less. So I think as my parents, my father was an insurance agent. My mother was an administrator for LA County Unified School District. My mom was a wolf. She ran with wolves. So they were both had entrepreneurial minds. They knew that they wanted to have a family. They were young. They were late 20s, early 30s, I believe, when they first moved there. And so they said it was difficult to pay a house note. That was like $300 a month. But so they bought their first home, and we were in East Altadena. My family has always lived in East Altadena. And I guess somewhere around the time I was like 8 years old, they decided that they wanted to become entrepreneurs. And so they decided to open a beauty supply. So there was another family, the Steps family in Pasadena, a Black family, who had a beauty supply. But my parents opened a beauty supply, and I mean, it just blew up. It was like, it's kind of like what helped them to establish their wealth. My father became a distributor. He bought like the California Pro System, all the relaxer systems. He brought them all to the West Coast. He set up a distributorship around California where he serviced beauty salons, where he would go in and call on the beauty salons and make the deliveries. And so it was a really, really large beauty supply. I mean, like in their first year, I forgot what he told us he was grossing. I have the numbers written down. I'm sorry, I don't know them by heart, but they did really well. And my mom, they were on the street that CNN only ran, the Lake and Mariposa Street. And so my mom said that she noticed an older white man walking up and down the street. So she went outside and she asked him, what was he looking for? And he said, he was a realtor, that the property the whole entire block was going to come up for sale. And so my mom said, oh, really? So she came in and she said, my dad said she told him, and he was like, look, we're hanging on a thread over here. We took everything we owned and invested in this business. We don't have enough money to buy this. But my mom's friend was Marilyn Commodore, and she was one of the first female Black presidents of Security National Bank. That was in the late 70s. And that bank was like right across the street. And so she helped them with the financing, and my parents secured the block. They bought the block. And that was like 1979 or 1980. And half of the block threatened to leave. There was a lot of Black newspapers. So we had the Pasadena Journal. Joe Hopkins, he was an attorney. He ran that one for Altadena. There was the Pasadena Gazette. That was the Ham family. They ran that. And so a couple, like the Christian Science Reading Room, threatened to leave. There was a hardware store that was like 7 generations that had been on that block. They threatened to leave, and a couple other. My father said, well, that's fine. So he had a friend named Dewey, and Dewey wanted to have a cleaner. And so he brought him to the block, and then he brought a hair salon to the block and another hair salon to the block. And then the block just began to thrive. And right across the street, so all of your listeners, if they were watching CNN or any of the news outlets, most of the news encampment was on the street that we're talking about right now, Lake and Mariposa. They call it now the Mariposa Junction. And there's like a liquor store burned down right there. That was Black owned by the Lindsay family. That was owned for like, a couple of generations. And then you had A. Brockman Green. He was the realtor. And then his brother, Mr. Shakur, he was a CPA accountant. So there were all these thriving Black businesses right there in the Altadena community on that well-known street that has become even more infamous now, thanks to CNN, Lake Avenue, Mariposa. So that community was full of Black businesses, Black professionals, and it was just thriving. And so a lot of Black families began to move in Pasadena. Like I said, you had JPL, Caltech. So there were a lot of young Black women secretaries that worked at JPL. And at the time, AT&T, their corporate office was in Pasadena. And so that supplied a lot of jobs. And I think people came in from Los Angeles. If you ever visit Pasadena or Altadena, you'll see what a beautiful and charming city it is. And so I don't think it wasn't hard to attract people. That's why I'm kind of having a hard time when we talked the other day about how people are using the word gentrification, because the community was thriving. I mean, and you know, the white people had kind of moved out, but it was such a beautiful, well-kept town that a lot of the younger, you know, it became more affordable because the cost of homes, the average cost of rent in Pasadena for a 2-bedroom right now is $2,800 to $3,500.
Wow.
And we're not even talking about a new building. We're not talking about we're not talking about something really, really nice. We're talking about like average, like an older building, not high-low carpet, but not, like brand new with all the amenities.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, what happened so a couple years ago, they did statistics on the population of Black families that still live. So during the time when my parents were alive, they, all of their friends, they had started the Black Business Association of Altadena, Pasadena. My mom was the first Black female on the Chamber of Commerce. A lot of people in the world don't know that one of my mom's other homegirl, Black female, she is the only Black female mayor that the city of Pasadena ever had, Loretta Glickman. My parents hosted all the mayoral campaigns in our home when Tom Bradley was mayor. So it really was like that type of like thriving middle-class community. The schools, there are really no words to encapsulate kind of like what Altadena, Pasadena means to the people. I could tell you this, when you have a city that has two high schools that are rivals, and you hold an annual football game in the Rose Bowl Stadium, which most people are familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to COVID, you could almost fill that stadium with all of the alumni.
Oh, wow.
The community is so tight. I remember I went to Southern University in 1986, and it was funny because we shared pictures, you coming in as a freshman and your seniors, and people are like, well, these white people, and what is that person? I'm like, they're Armenian. They're like, what's an Armenian? When I say richly diverse in its community, and I don't know, it's just sad. I'm going to start crying because I don't know that it can ever be that again. I sent you some pictures of the Tapa Lake. If you're at the Tapa Lake Avenue from the mountains, you can see down to Catalina Island on a clear day. So the view is just beautiful. And so, there were talks years ago about a smart city coming in. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
So, Kimberly, let me ask you this, because I'm listening to you, and it's almost, I hate to say it this way, but it almost sounds this way, which is a reminiscing of what was.
Yes.
So what I'm getting from you, and maybe I'm wrong, so I want you to correct me if I am. What I am getting from you is that you don't think that it'll ever revert back to that.
I do not. I don't believe, because I don't believe that the fire just happened from a force of nature. I started with JPL as an Altadena. How does a fire that burns east to west, north to south, at the rate that fire was moving, how does it suddenly stop at Woodbury? How does it not encroach upon the neighborhood of JPL? Because none of the homes as far west as Jet Propulsion Laboratory. There's a street called Casitas, and there's an area called the Meadows that's up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
No fire.
So
No
the
fire.
Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, that's what you call it, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Mm-hmm. It's huge.
It did
Google
not
it.
burn.
No fire touched it at all. And it sits down in like if you can call it its own valley. You'd have to do like an aerial view of Google Maps to see what I'm talking about. No fire there. None. And I do know, because I live at the Woodbury line, that they, at one point they did, because there's two gas stations there, the fire department came, this is kind of like 3:00 in the morning, and began to create and spray a border as not for the, but if you didn't have because the original story is they didn't have the manpower, they didn't have, and at some point there wasn't access to water, which we all just learned that there's a white couple with the last name of Resnick that actually owns 65 or 68% of the water supply in California. Like, there's all these little things that are.
I have never ever heard that before. So I tell you what, though.
I'm not telling you no stories.
Yeah,
I'm
let
telling
me
you the
let me
parts
do
that
this.
I know.
Let me do this real quick, because I know my producer is getting ready to come through the window if I don't. I need to take a break real quick. Don't hang up. I'm coming right back. Let me do a break real quick, and we'll come right back. Kimberly Gamel is our guest this afternoon, talking about the fires in L.A. County and Altadena, more so than anywhere else, of her home. And we'll also find out what is she doing now, because whether she believes it or not, she is the entrepreneur that I like to hear, because this is a not give up attitude altogether. More coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
Start your day off right.
Just getting your day started.
Early morning gospel on WBOK 1230 a.m.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
Well, look who it is.
We all love a surprise, but not if it's flu or COVID. If you're 65 or older, vaccines are your best defense against severe flu and COVID this fall and winter. Getting both vaccines helps protect you from severe illness and also cuts your hospitalization risk in half. This season, protect yourself. Surprise! So the surprises you get are the good ones. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Stove, Pastor David Impartian Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Who bring the power to the people, partner? Who bring the power to the hood home? Hey. 12:30 a.m. That's that. Tune into the reality check. Look. Who bring the power to the people, partner? Who bring the power to the hood home? Hey. AM 12:30. That's that. Tune into the reality check. Look.
Welcome back. Man, oh man, oh man. What a lesson so far here. On the phone with us from the West Coast, from LA County and Altadena. I guess today, Miss Kimberly Gamel is on the phone with us as she's traveling at the same time. Let me get back to this fire thing because one of the questions that I saw in a couple of the, I guess, the news conferences was, was there water for some of those fire hydrants when those trucks would pull up to try to put out the fire? Was there water? And some people are saying no, some people saying that's not true, but you said something that I have never heard anybody say, that there's a couple that owns the water outlets.
They own the 68% of the water supply in California. They have a farm. I think their last name is Resnick. They're the company that produces POM, the POM juices, like your little Tangelo, tangerine juice, those little small tangerines. And I forget what else they grow on their farm. I don't know how it happened. I didn't read about it. I mean, I'm coming out of the trauma part of it myself. So some of the things, like I have to stop listening to NPR, stop watching the news. In the midst of this, we had the president being sworn in. So at some point, I just kind of had to step away. But all of the information is public knowledge, public record for people to go back and do their own, research.
Wow. I didn't know you could own the water supply.
I didn't either.
I thought that was public property. I thought that was just minerals and mineral. I guess I'm just I don't know. So how do we number one get a hold of this? Because I think a lot of folks are seeing the fires and they're like, oh my god, but your photos, which I do have online right now, as a matter of fact, they are on my Facebook Live page as we are talking. Shows the before and after when we see the where the businesses were and how they were on fire afterwards. The videos that are showing how you were riding through and those homes are gone. And it disturbed me, and I understand what you're saying when you're saying you don't expect it to come back to like it was.
No.
Because the same thing happened here.
Right. Yeah, my sister lives in the East, and sometimes I hate to visit because I just can't believe what was and is now. Like, it's almost unfathomable that, well, that's another conversation. But, right now, I think people are in survival mode. Imagine everybody that you went to high school with, you went to elementary school with, your cousin, your grandmother, your great aunt, like all of your families, every single person people you did Little League with, people you did Pop Warner or football or whatever that is, and all the sports and all the activities that you church with, that you just did life with forever. No one has a home. And it's not even just that. People don't have anything. So that first morning, Alhambra is a city that's just a little far south. There are surrounding communities. And so I'm a hairstylist. And, the biggest running joke in our community is how people have no consideration, clients, for the stylist. They don't care if you got, whatever your problem is. I literally had a client send me a message. I was supposed to be at work at 5:30 in the morning, and she goes, I see it's fiery in Pasadena, Altadena, but I'm sitting in front of the school. Are you coming? Because there was no real news about it. Everybody was being looped. That one thing that CNN kept showing of Eaton Canyon for hours because they said because of the wind and visibility. Now, at 3 o'clock in the morning, you couldn't see anything. I mean, people were honking their horns. I mean, it was like gridlock going down the streets. You saw people running down the streets with blankets around them because there was no warning. We were given no warning to get out. If you lived in West Altadena, my cell service had gone down. So had I not driven to the other side of town for my cousin to try and get some things out of her house, we would not have known how bad it was when we came back to the other side. Now, you see how much foliage there is there too. Tons of trees. It's beautiful. There's trees in the streets. There's branches everywhere. And the city is pitch black because there is no lights now in the middle of the morning. And so people are really, really, like, I think that you could see this, and people are probably thinking, like if you get a tornado warning and you have time to pack a bag and get all of your important papers. I mean, 75% of my business is gone. A lot of the people who had businesses in Altadena, like small restaurants, the cleaners, everybody's business is gone. Like gone, because my clients are displaced. People are trying to figure out where they're going to live. How are they going to sustain? People didn't even get toothbrushes. Some people, because usually if the power goes out, some people just thug it out and be like, I'm just going to stay home. In the morning, it'll be back on, right? Or I'm just going to leave and run to my friend's house and I'll come back tomorrow. They never gave the type of warning that this warranted. Again, if you look at the timestamps of where I took the pictures where they were saying that it was a mandatory evacuation for East Altadena, that was at 8 o'clock. Why then at 3 o'clock in the morning are people running out of their homes because they haven't been alerted to leave? So there are cars, like people don't even understand the cars. I mean, everybody was watching their cars burn up on the ring. People jumped in cars with their neighbor because, sometimes you're blocked in. The streets were blocked.
Right.
I mean, it was mayhem in the middle of the night for some people trying to get out of the city. And that is just the part that they, are not showing. So now you have to deal also with the mental health, the trauma that's starting to sit in and settle in people's body. Now that you're kind of like, you started the FEMA process, people started the insurance process. I was suffering a little bit. I'm a take action kind of person. I've always been involved in the community, hands down, like let's let's get to work. And I literally had to remove myself because I've never been in a situation when that house blew up, and they're talking about embers. No, it was like fireballs flying all around us.
Really?
And watching things catch on fire, like there is no time. You're just trying to I'll send you that video. Please, you can have it for yourself, but it's complete. It makes me cry just to think about like the terror that in my voice, yelling at my cousin.
I watched the video. I guess that's you and your cousin.
Oh, I sent that one.
in the car.
Yeah.
As you all are driving down the street, and I couldn't play that one because somebody had the potty mouth. Somebody.
Yeah,
but that wasn't potty mouth trying to be
why?
funny. That was potty mouth terror.
No, because imagine your house blows up in front of you, like you hear the boom. And this is the other thing. They never turned off the gas. If everyone looks at the pictures, a lot of the landscapes are still existent. It's the homes that are burned down. And in one of the videos, you can see where the gas fires they burned in the city for days because they had to come up and go house to house to turn it off.
Yeah, had to go house to house. I saw that on the news. As a matter of fact, I think like one day this week that they were going house to house just to turn off the gas.
Yes, because she was such in shock. She kept her car going towards the house. She wasn't trying to turn around. So that was my potty mouth screaming like, please turn the car around.
Turn the car around. Beepity, 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 beep. I was like, oh.
Yeah. So just imagine. And everybody, as you see them, we went and stayed at the Hilton that night. There were no special accommodations, none for parking, people don't have wallets. They didn't have purses. Most people didn't have keys. Literally what people had on their back is what people had. And the one beautiful thing about the neighboring community, one thing I'd like to share really quick is that when we talk about LA County, and I don't know how big county lines are in other states, but Altadena so Pasadena is incorporated. So it's part of LA County, but it's not governed by LA County. So it sits in LA County's borders. Altadena is part of LA County, but we don't have the same and if we do, in all the years that I lived there, I don't know where they are. I know that there's regulation, but it's not like being in the physical city of LA. So Altadena, Pasadena is literally like 15 minutes north with no traffic of Los Angeles, downtown LA proper, right? Like where City Hall where you would find it. So Pasadena has their own fire departments. JPL has their own fire department, and Altadena as a city, if I'm not mistaken, that resides in LA County, I think there's 3 fire departments, maybe 4.
Altogether?
Altogether. And what else I found interesting, and I'm not a conspiracy, I really don't jump on the conspiracy theory, but there's a lot of things that are strange. On those blocks where everything burned down, the sheriff's station didn't burn down, the fire station didn't burn down, and nor did the Altadena library. But everything else around it is gone.
Yeah, well, understand me. I am not only just a conspiracy theorist, I'm also the president.
So I don't know, but people are hurting, and they have just come together. We have been getting so many donations. I'm an education director too for a Black-owned barber college that they have 3 schools, and they're down to 2 now, but it's 40. I think I forgot how many years old it is, but we had people flying in. We hosted an event. We opened the doors because FEMA shut down a group called Altadena Strong. There's so many donations at this point, but people can't take them. How many clothes can you take? You don't have luggage. You don't have a place to live. You're staying at the Pasadena Convention Center, or you're staying I was in an Airbnb, and then they put me in a hotel, and then I came here. Now, I didn't, fortunately, lose home burned down to the ground, but so I had to have smoke remediation. I don't have clothes. I have to do all furnishings. Everything that was non-porous, they're saying needs to be replaced. They can try, quote unquote, to treat it with some kind of special chemical. So there's that. But greater than that is the business, because what is going to happen if people like me, we were very, very we had a lot of nice beauty salons
Mhm.
in the Altadena community. All of those hairstylists, our school opened up the doors to allow the stylists to work. We closed down the school for the last 2 weeks so that stylists will have a place to work, but they're coming in and they don't have clients because everyone is displaced. They're all over this. They're not just in Altadena and Pasadena because we're maxed out. You know, people have gone to be with their families. They're trying to find, you know, where their children are going to go to school. All of the schools have been closed.
So
our
there
elementary
is
schools
no
are all burned
plan for. I mean, where are all the people staying?
So a lot of people immediately either went to friends and family. The first night we stayed at a hotel in Pasadena, and FEMA is on the ground there. ARP is on the ground. You know, all of the emergency support people are there. But now we're moving into the second week. And you know, it kind of feels like when I was leaving yesterday, it kind of feels like how it does with a funeral. When you have like
Right.
a loved one die
Right.
and everyone's around you. And then after the funeral, you know, you don't really hear from people or there's not as many people. They've begun the big parts of the cleanup, like trying to get the phone, you know, because some areas still don't have gas. They're trying to get the electricity back up because there are certain small parts of Altadena that, like I said, that area, that neighborhood that is directly close to JPL, those people can go back into their homes. If you live right below Woodbury, you can go back into your home.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the businesses in Altadena, I mean, you know, I was just, like I said, I don't know how long it's going to take. They're saying like maybe
That's going to
2
take a
years
long
before
time.
People can, 2 to 3 years. So people have to pay their mortgages still, even if they get a forbearance for a year. They have to pay their mortgages. Then they still have to pay rent somewhere, and they don't know how long, you know, that's going to be. We don't have a lot of like apartments or housing.
I just hope they don't do you all like they did us after Katrina, which was, I still today think it's against the law. And that was the insurance companies sent the mortgages for homes that were destroyed. They sent the money to the mortgage company. The mortgage company took the amount of money that it was owed out of that insurance proceed, and then the mortgage company would send you a check for the rest and tell you good luck. So you paid your house off, but if you only got, you know, $150,000, $200,000 for a home, and you owed $125,000, they send you a check for $25,000. How are you going to get another home? How are you going to start rebuilding with that amount or that least amount of money? And and those checks had to be endorsed by both entities, the person that it was designed to, and of course the mortgage company. And those mortgage companies cashed those checks and then sent you the remaining part of the proceeds. I thought that was against the law. I'm not certain, but I did think so.
I'm going to have to bring that up at the town hall, at the next town hall meeting. But
make sure they
what's
don't
even
do
more
that to you all.
What's more interesting is that State Farm, all of the major insurance companies, I don't know if you guys have been seeing on the news, had started dropping for fire insurance.
And how do you drop somebody after you didn't have a problem?
Well, that's all of the conversation right now. But what I want to say is at my church, they're doing an excellent job. Pastor John DeCure, Executive Pastor Angel Kate, even we have Brandon Lamar, who's a pastor, but he's also president of the NAACP. They're very on the ground because the community is very close. Octavia's Bookshelf, which is a Black-owned bookstore, because Octavia Butler is from Altadena. She lived there. She's buried there. They have really been pulling together. We have a large number of corporate Black men and women who have already put together an investment group to begin the process of people who are not interested in staying and purchasing their land or helping them or helping with resources.
Mm-hmm.
So they really are galvanizing and coming together in a particular way. It's just, this is the long game, right? Like we're going into week 3 now. And
this is going to end up being years.
What they're going to do, because like I said, people are now getting calls saying, hey, we can relocate you to Florida. We'll relocate you to, Texas. Several of the elementary schools burned down, so the kids are not in school. The elementary kids, and I don't know because I don't have small children. I don't know what the plan is. I did hear that the junior high or one of the high schools was going back today, but also who I co-founded the Pasadena school with, who owns it, he and his ex-wife they opened a black charter school. I mean, they opened a charter school, but of course, mostly black and brown children up in the foothills of Altadena. Beautiful campus, burned down to the ground. Their charter school is number 2 in the nation, Rosebud Academy. And so, you know, it's just kind of like people don't have schools for their children to go to. All of the daycares are shut down. All the preschools are burned down. And all the other schools are already at max. So, I mean, people are going to start a life when you have a family. You know, I really don't know. I know for me, there's things that I've been wanting to do, mission work. I've been wanting to work in other spaces and places. I'm an artist. I do work with national theaters as well. So maybe this is just a time for me, because yesterday, part of that last video I think I sent was just kind of like a release. I've always tethered myself to Altadena. I have a twin, and he's like, why the hell would anybody move from here? I mean, he's a lot different from I am in that respect. Like, he's like, I will never move from Dena. You know, people call it Dena. Like, so Altadena is 91001, and then Pasadena has like 4 zip codes.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have the same area code. And, you know, for me, without a business, I can't continue to thrive. And at my age and this stage in my life, you know, we've already done COVID. You know, it's time for me to decide, you know, what am I going to do now? Because I have zero desire to live in Los Angeles proper.
Mm-hmm.
Altadena, Pasadena is a perfect, beautiful suburb city. It has everything in it. I don't like traffic. I don't want to fight. You know, a lot of people who live in Altadena commuted 90 minutes, what would normally be a 20-minute drive when there's no traffic, takes 90 minutes to 2 hours. I don't want to do that.
So I think the number one thing, though, for you, Kimberly, is that, and I'm just speaking I'm not speaking on behalf of you. I just think right now, and maybe you have not looked at it this way, but I do think that you're still in a state of shock.
I am.
And then at some point, and look, you know, I can't tell you how long that's going to be, because only you would know that. But I think that as smart as you are, that at some point in time, when you get past that state of shock, that you'll come up with a plan that's good for you. And listen, I know how, and I've heard you in the last couple of days tell me about the different things that you've done and the people that you help, and how you're running around opening up buildings so they can get up in there and do all these different things. At some point in time, you are going to have to sit down and put together your plan, because not only am I hearing that you know, is still in a state of shock, but you are hurt behind this.
Absolutely. We all are, and it's not just even a me thing. I mean, I feel guilty. It sounds like I've just been I statement.
No. Ain't nothing wrong with you. I mean, can't nobody tell your experience but you. You know,
right.
So you tell it best. My producer looking at me. We got it. Okay. How much longer you got? You still in the airport?
No. I'm in a Starbucks. My girlfriend doesn't live far from here. I'm in a suburb in Atlanta.
Okay. Can you hold on for one more time here for a minute?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
Hold on. We're coming right back. More with Kimberly in just a minute, y'all. From Altadena in the fire ravaged Altadena on the West Coast, LA County. We'll talk to her more in just a minute. We got to pay some bills here real quick, news, and we'll come right back with more in just a minute, right here on WBOK.
AURN News.
I'm Ebony McMorris.
House Republicans can no longer hide their intentions from the American people.
House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries isn't holding back against the newly revealed Republican budget plan, calling it extreme contract against America.
It will hurt working families, hurt the middle class, hurt our children, hurt our seniors, and hurt our veterans. Will end Medicaid as we know it, destroy the Affordable Care Act, and eliminate the mortgage interest deduction, which will raise costs on tens of millions of working class and middle class Americans.
He put Republicans on notice regarding must-pass legislation like the debt ceiling and government funding, signaling that Democrats won't make it easy for the GOP to pass their partisan priorities. The plan outlines trillions in spending cuts targeting federal programs the Democrats say are lifelines for vulnerable communities. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK 12:30 a.m. and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe, 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health. Hey, have you heard the news? First Pilgrims Baptist Church is now on WBOK 12:30 a.m. Tune in every Sunday at 11:30 a.m. to hear Pastor Eugene Mitchell give you the inspiration you need for the week ahead. That's every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. only on WBOK 12:30 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Talk That. Knoll Education is all about awareness. Join Dr. Jaquil Ross from New Schools for New Orleans to learn how our schools in Orleans Parish are performing academically compared to other parishes. Tune in for Talk That this Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor. We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
Get in on the conversation at 504-582-9422. WBOK 12:30 a.m. New Orleans, home of the reality check, weekdays 1 to 4 p.m.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. A new wildfire, the Hughes Fire, has burned 500 acres near Santa Clarita, California, and is 0% contained as crews also battle the Palisades and Eaton fires. Strong winds are pushing flames through canyons and up hills. Former Black Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is criticizing President Trump for targeting her on social media, noting she had already resigned from the President's Export Council before he claimed to have fired her. She urged him to focus on global issues instead. The Supreme Court will rule on police immunity in a Houston case where Constable Roberto Felix fatally shot a black driver fleeing a toll stop. The decision could open the door to more excessive force lawsuits. And Reverend Al Sharpton is urging a boycott of companies reversing DEI programs. Speaking at a MLK Day rally, he emphasized King's fight for equality and said the National Action Network will target at least 2 companies within 90 days. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
New Schools for New Orleans wants to send a special shout out to our partner, the All-State Sugar Bowl. During the holiday break, over 30 teachers had the opportunity to ride in the New Year's Eve parade, and boy, did they have a blast. In addition, we had over 60 teachers attend the All-State Sugar Bowl game. Out of the 60, 11 teachers received a $1,000 gift card to purchase needed supplies to enhance the learning experiences for their students. Thank you, All-State Sugar Bowl, for your commitment to NOLA's teachers.
All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. Gerard Stevens with you. Friday, beginning of the weekend. Glad to see everybody made it through the snow. Hopefully we will know, because I am hearing that places around the Crescent City are back open now as far as traveling. I've seen some of you are already on it too, with posting it online saying that these places are open, and some of the highways have opened as well. Please drive with care and be on the lookout for the other guy, because some of y'all drive crazy. Now, that's all. I'm not even going to try to candy coat it. Some of y'all drive crazy as hell. How about that? How's that one? Drive with care, all right? Because y'all ain't used to driving in no snow. All right, talking to us right now from Altadena, California, as we talk about these fires out on the West Coast. Our good friend Kimberly Gamel is on the phone with us, and she's traveling and going from one coast to the other. The world traveler, that's what I'm going to call you, the world traveler today. Kimberly, as we were talking about all of this, your state of mind in this whole process is how? What is your state of mind? Because what I'm gonna do a comparison, because your state of mind in this is actually probably the state of mind that many of the folks out there that have been subject to this are going through right now.
Yeah. State of mind, I don't know that I have one word. I think that there's a range of emotions. So definitely, like I said, normally I would have been the one at the church helping unpack the boxes, doing all the things. You know, the most that I could do was open up the school for the stylists and open it up for the two groups that came from out of town that wanted to provide services. We're planning something for the firefighters in our area, and another donation. I think that I have been, like you said, in shock. It was interesting when I got ready to come back from Arizona, because I was feeling bad about being out of town and not being on the ground. I literally was like paralyzed when it was time to get on the plane, and I just started crying. And that really isn't my personality. And so I think, you know, people, therapists would say trauma will live in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just a processing. For me, yesterday, the pictures, the big black and white house, that is the last house that we lived in. I woke up on my way back, and I did hear the word relief. I've always tethered myself to Altadena, Pasadena, because I have such rich family roots, and I love the community so much. But there's always been body of work that I wanted to do outside of living in Altadena, Pasadena, that wouldn't afford me to be able to do if I wanted to stay on the West Coast. And so I think I vacillate between spaces, right? Like sometimes I feel like, okay, you know, I have some, not pieces of is not the word, but I'm like, you're dealing with it. Like I'm talking about it.
Right.
I'm living it. I'm experiencing it.
Is that therapy?
I haven't had any therapy. I do have an executive coach, and she left me a message yesterday. We'll jump on a call. She's not a therapist, so.
No. I mean, talking about it, is that like therapy as well?
I think it is. I think what's frustrating for me is that when I see all of the Instagrams and all the people, you know, people want to, and it's our community too, right? Like they want to take hold of a story that's not theirs, and they're not telling the entire story.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, it wasn't just like, you know, this small little raggedy town that Black people came and found and set up roots and stuff. There's rich history, at least for the 50 years that I've been alive, you know, in the community, that it was a thriving community. It was beautiful when we got there, and it's still beautiful. And, I don't know. And people keep just talking about home ownership, but there's so many. I mean, we have some of the best athletes that came out of Pasadena. There's so many other stories. And I think home ownership is important, but also entrepreneurship. I mean, we have some incredible, those businesses and all those Black entrepreneurs that I mentioned, those people died in business. It wasn't like they just set up business for 5 years and then they went away.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And when my mom got sick and died, when my mom got sick with ALS and my parents decided to slow it down and go to Las Vegas, they sought out a Black family to purchase that block. And that block is still Black owned. Most of the community doesn't know that block is Black owned, or that it has been Black owned since the 60s. And so I think that's my therapy, being able to talk to people who are really interested in the story, or who will take time to hear because I just try not to focus on the tragedy. And then maybe for me, because the house isn't burnt down to the ground, and fortunately I can still have my pictures of my mom, or, you know, luckily legacy doesn't die just because a town burns down. But I'm not, you know, but I have lost a business. You know, my daughter started this GoFundMe and I was mortified. I was like, oh my God, why would you do that? And she was like, when you come back to reality and you don't have business.
She told you, dude.
She did. She was like, because last Saturday when I opened up for the other stylist, I didn't have any clients and I wasn't planning to work because I knew all my people would be out. And then I made a post on Facebook like, hey, I'm here. And I'm phenomenal at what I do. So I was like, hey, I'm here. I didn't really expect that many people to come through, but people started calling. And so I did hair and gave my services back. And my daughter was like, no, you ain't going to be able to afford to do that.
But that was her bringing you back to reality of, right. You know, this is today. And I don't know if this is a good thing. You're going to take this as a good thing or not, but it is. You also should look at it as, okay, maybe my pride won't let me say I need to have a GoFundMe. My pride, because I've never had to be there. But you don't think
Right.
you're there now?
I mean, yeah, I'm definitely there.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'm not saying, but you know what I felt like? I felt like, what about all the people who don't have anything? Like, I had to stay in a hotel in an Airbnb so I can get the smoke abatement done and the remediation.
Kimberly,
I don't know how
Kimberly, hello?
Yes, I'm here.
What about you?
I guess I feel like I take me with me wherever I go.
Oh, hold on. Let me try this. I'm going to try this again, y'all. I'm going to try this again, y'all. Let me try it one more time. Maybe she didn't hear me good.
No. Now you sound like we're in church. Don't do that.
But what about you?
No, definitely, right? Like, we all need the help, and whatever help I have, I'm sure I will share. I appreciate the support. You know, people have been very generous to me. I didn't have any clothes when I left, and I got new luggage to be able to travel here. And so I am grateful, and I'm trying to remember to send everybody their thank you cards. Yes, it is a pride thing, I'm sure. If I'm 100% honest, I don't want to be in that position. So
Let me give you a story. This is my story. When Katrina hit, I ended up staying here. Then I went to Houston, and then I came back here and ended up doing work, thinking that, you know, we're going back into New Orleans and we're going to clean this thing up and we're going to start all over again and we're going to get back to where we were, not knowing that it was going to take somewhere between 10 to 25 years, as it was predicted, for us to even get back to where we were. But when I went home, because my family is from North Carolina, and when I went home to go see them, they just wanted to see my face. And then when I got home, I was going over to my grandmother's house, and I was sitting there talking to her. And the next thing I know, that people that lived in the county, not people that lived down the street, but people that lived in the county started coming over. They wanted to come over, not to say hello or da-da-da. They were coming over bringing envelopes.
Right.
We want to make sure that you're all right. We don't have, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars, but hopefully this will help you. Because I think that's what we do when we have family or people that care. We care enough to say, hey, I got a little something. Hopefully this will help you at some point. Man, take that money.
I know, but I think if I stay in that space, then it is the reality of what is right now.
Kimberly, no, absolutely not. What you have to do right now is accept the fact you're in denial. You are a little bit in denial. I noticed that as you're talking about it, because you're living as what was. This is a new day. This place that you call home has got to go through the change you're going to do. And I think that the people that you're talking about are wonderful, especially those that you, and I didn't even get into that part, but you said they put together a group of folks that are saying, wait a minute, before you sell your property, you need to go through us, because that's protective. And what you need to do first, young lady, is take care of you. I know,
Right.
and I hear your heart. Your heart sounds wonderful. You sound like you're there for all these other folks. But when you gonna be there for you?
Well, that's what I think, that being there for me, because I am an action person, is showing that, right? So even the people that want to give, I have transferable skills. I'm an educator. And I think people, when it's like sacred reciprocity, right? Or at least it should be in our community. And so people, I'm hoping that give and pour into me. I want to be able to share those resources, but I also want to use my resources and my connections so that, like, we keep this circle going, like we keep it moving. And I don't think I'm so much in denial. I think what COVID did teach me is that I could live with a lot less. Now, what my daughter pointed, because she is a mini me, what my daughter pointed out to me during COVID was like, yeah, you could live with a lot less because wasn't nothing open. You didn't need all of that.
I'm loving your daughter. Your daughter telling you like it is.
I know. That's at Sky's Falling. She's one.
But I hope what you're hearing from me is not taken the wrong way. I just want you to know that it's a concern more than anything else. That concern is, first of all, don't burn yourself out. Don't burn yourself out trying to do all of these other things. I believe you got an S on your chest and you superwoman.
No, not at all. I don't want to be that.
But I just think that at some point in time, you got to be able to put up and say, wait a minute. It's going to take a long time and not no couple of months for this to go back to where we can say this is our home again.
Right.
It's going to take a long time just to do the cleanup. The cleanup is removing all of that burnt material, going through the hazardous part of it because of the chemicals that were used. And I'm also hearing, if I'm not mistaken, that y'all got water, y'all got rain, which might be a big rainstorm on the way this week.
That's why I left. The air quality is horrible. You cannot, it is like, and again, there's so many things, right? So for me, in my mind, I'm already resolved that I'm going to start doing what I used to do before. I'll be working in other places because I don't, it's not, first of all, it's not even healthy to be there. It is, the air quality is so poor, and this is the other thing. You know, I keep seeing this disparity. I see all of these white contractors going up in the big trucks, and they're on the ground in hazmats, and they have the big, great, respirator masks. But we have a huge population of Latino community who are just as much a part of our community and have suffered as much loss, all of us, right? Equitable loss. And they have come together, and they are doing a lot of the work. They're the people who came by and were cutting down the branches and the trees and getting to the places that the city couldn't, but they're not supplying them with the same kind of mask. It's so nuanced and layered, and I'm sure everyone who is a person of color is familiar.
Oh, absolutely. I mean that happened here. That happened here. It'll probably happen in other places, but I guess my question would be: was there anybody from that Latino community that can get the microphone and get the camera to say, hey, we're not doing?
I don't know. I think that maybe, sometimes they're using this. We have these like day laborer spots, and that's the larger body that I've been seeing because they're on Lake Avenue. Sometimes people are happy to have work, and when you don't know what you don't know what to ask for. Maybe I don't know that. I just witnessed that because, like I said, I went up into Altadena. You have to have a certain ID to get into your neighborhood. You can't drive all around the city.
Right.
You have to be able to have an ID to go into your neighborhood. And certain neighborhoods, there's still neighborhoods that are not, the cadaver dogs are still out. They still have missing persons lists. And so until every neighborhood is cleared, they're working small areas at a time. I know CNN interviewed me the morning after, not CNN, I'm sorry, our local KTLA or NBC. I can't remember which one it was, but I was the only person on the block, and I went to the block and I was standing in front, and the guy approached me and goes, well, what are you doing here? And so I started telling him the story, and him and the young lady that were so interested, and I was talking about just pointing, every other business, telling them how it was Black owned, and they were like, well, we didn't know this. And I said, and how come you guys aren't going to West Altadena? You guys keep staying right here. They were like, this is where they told us to go. This is where, the media is supposed to report. This is the area they're giving us. We don't know about West Altadena.
And she was like, we're so excited about this. She took my number. She goes, we're going to run this story because this is the part that people don't know. I mean, it was Fox News. I'm sorry. She was like, we are so excited to tell this part of the story. You've given us so many business people to contact in this community.
Mm-hmm.
When that ran, you know what they cut out everything I said and said about Black people having houses.
Wow. So what about the folks that are, because what you're going to have are those carpetbaggers that are going to come into town that are saying, okay, sell me your property, and they're going to get that property for cents on the dollar. And I would say that, you know, if it was me, I'd be telling folks, even though that you've gone through it, you know, we have to fight with the insurance company. If you can afford not to sell, don't sell it.
I think people are in that mindset right now. You know, everybody is up for the fight, fists up. And like I said, there are so many law firms, Black-owned, coming in. Like Ben Crump has there's advocacy every day. There's lots of support. But you also have to remember there's just as many Black homeowners, and that's what I was going to share with you before, where it used to be like 68%, you know, Black, mostly Black populated, maybe in the late 70s, early 80s. And then years ago, like 2000, early 2000, it was 40. And I think we're down to like 28% if you ran the numbers.
Wow.
The numbers are lower, right? Because when they started building bigger homes, because a lot of the places were built by certain architects and they're landmarks and you can't do certain things to them. And, you know, like me, I grew up on that block and I was on that block from the time I was a little girl. I got to a point in my career where I began to feel stagnant. I wanted to experience other parts of my work in the world, and I couldn't look at that street anymore. Like, that's a natural, you know, I think it's natural. It felt natural for me to not want to be there, and so I took a job with Oregon Shakespeare Festival in Oregon. And that's when you say I'm talking about what was, because I've already decided that I'm not staying. For me, because
you're not staying?
No, I won't be staying in Altadena because I right now I lease the home that I'm in. I don't own the home that I'm in right now. So I won't be staying. And me and my cousins, you know, we're equally invested in some property. I would love, next to the house that blew up, me and my cousins had a short little meeting when they went over to the property, and we had access back up onto Main Lane. Two of the neighbors want to sell, and so we're in conversation about, as a family, how to invest, to take our resources and invest. I would love to do that. But at 55, there's still some other things on my hit list that I wanted to do. And for my own health, like, I don't want to live in a place where in 5 years they tell me I have some kind of weird lung cancer because they didn't do, you know,
right.
I'm here for the community. I love, you know, Altadena, Pasadena. There's nothing I won't do. And I'll definitely be there because I have to hold the school down as the curriculum director and director for the other campus. But those are things that I can do away. I think the trauma too, for me right now, when you were saying you have to do things to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Me stepping away is the taking care of myself right now, because it's like you say, this is the long game, and you know, people are in the fight or flight mode. And people,
you got to remember,
believe it or not, they are committed to keeping their homes.
Right.
The only people who are not are the people who are like in their 80s.
Right.
Now, some of the 90-year-olds, because they don't have it in them. 5 years to wait to have a house rebuilt that you possibly can or can't afford or will not be able to live in. And that information, I can't wait to get off the phone with you. I've been typing and texting as we've been talking to what you shared with me about the insurance, because that doesn't even sound legal, but I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah. And then, you know, if the governor declares some type of state of emergency, you know, when those declarations are declared, then the regular laws, and some of them may be going to the bedside, you know, and you don't want to think that this is happening because this is the law, and then there was a declaration of an emergency that threw those regular laws out of the door.
Correct.
So we need to know what those Stafford laws are. We need to make sure that we are not having somebody to come in and operating on a violation. We think it's a violation, and it's really not. So. You're going to have those folks coming into town. That's all they do. They go from one place to the other and do the same thing over and over and over and over again.
And the people who are not familiar with Altadena, because there's a lot of people in Palisades that won't be able to go back either. When they come and they see that view that I sent you, that I saw every morning from my balcony of my room, where I could see the ocean and how you could see all of the city. I mean, it is prime real estate. I mean, like, people are going to come, and I just wonder, you'll have people who will offer people double. They're going to offer all kinds of things. And how do we know that once they test it? I just don't trust anything right now. The way that we've had all these executive orders come in, are they going to come in and say, because people who, if your house was the only house that survived the fire on that block, you still can't live there because of all of the gas and all of the cars and all the electric. I mean, things, they blew up. Literally, all you can hear by 2 o'clock in the morning was boom, and like these tick, tick, ticks, and then boom, and tick, 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 and then boom. It was just like boom, 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 like fire. And the gas stayed on in the city. And we're talking, I don't think that people really have a concept, or there's context, rather, of, we're talking like you stand at the top of Lake Avenue, and you can look a half a mile to a mile down, where there was once houses, and you could never see anything but the yard that was in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then how are they're going to make that a cookie cutter? Who wants to live in the Stepford Wives, community? I don't.
Yes,
where every house looks the same, and there's a little park on the corner, and like every new suburb that they're dropping, where the houses aren't worth anything. I don't know, because it'll never be like, again, how could you take a house that someone sold for my parents bought that house for $66,000, and that was my favorite neighborhood. And you drive by it, and I'm like, well, it almost looks like it still has the same roof. I mean, like, not much has changed. Like, how does a house go from $60-something thousand to worth $1 million?
Yeah.
How does that happen? My parents sold the home when my mom got sick, and they retired to Vegas, and I went away to college. They sold our home in '86 for $700,000. That's a lot of money in 1986. So. And what that house is worth now, I think when I looked it up, is like 2 point something. Now, I don't know post the fires,
right.
But, I just, even with investment groups coming in, or us deciding, now what a lot of people are doing are saying they're just going to go buy some motorhome, some trailers or tiny homes and put them on their property. But they still have to re-grid everything, the electrical, the gas. They're going to bring everything to current standards. Those houses were built in the early 1900s.
Well, I can tell you now that, just be subject to the FEMA trailers coming, because the FEMA trailers will come in too. So, but let me ask you this. What is your plan? What are you going to do?
So I have always wanted to do like an exchange program and work with other stylists and other demographics in other cities. And I love, with the new push about, they've removed the DE&I, but I used to go and work in large theaters to disrupt inequitable services of people of color. And I love that work, educating like the departments between the hair department and the design department, and giving them the language and the tools, and then bringing their wig and hair departments to beauty standards. But now I love education. I was doing I was starting a coffee table book. I would love to do an artist in residency. There's a Black Rock Senegal in Senegal, Africa. He has a program. So honestly, I'm just asking. I am being a little still right now, and just asking the Lord to order my steps. I mean, I love New Orleans. If I didn't have to run from
one storm to the other. But now you're not only running from the hurricanes, you're running from the snowstorms, because we're just getting over this one.
Exactly. And I've been visiting places recently like, would I want to live here? Would I want to live there? The beautiful thing is I'm an empty nester. I'm single. I don't have to be anywhere at any particular time. And, I have access to flight benefits. So I don't know. I'm open. I thought that I wanted to do mission work. Maybe the mission is me. I'm working that part out. But it's going to take resources. So I did not want to go back behind the chair full time. But, we'll see.
Let's
catch up later. I'll tell you later. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have it all worked out yet, but that is part of it, right? Like, I got the opportunity to consult for a school down in Inglewood that I walked in, and usually my services are attained by white spaces, and I'm giving them all the tricks of the trade and teaching Asians and Latinos how to do texture hair. And what to do with it and educators how to teach it and the difference between 2D and 3D dimensional haircutting. But my heart melted when I went to the school, and, you know, what I went there for originally, you know, she was just like, I wish we could have, you know, I would love for you to come more, but we can't afford it. But to walk in and be able to teach a school of 30 young Black women who had never had the level of education, like advanced education, and the way they soaked it up and just were so excited to learn, like, we deserve that. Our community deserves that. And when I was in New Orleans, I visited 2 schools in the summer that are both Black-owned, both Black female-owned and led cosmetology schools. And so, you know, I would love to be able to, as long as I can eat, I would love to be able to have an opportunity to work in those spaces and give them what they don't know exists sometimes or have access to in a way. But I do have to eat, so I don't know. But that's what I would love to do, you know, and pursue kind of like this creative art side. I'm thinking about doing a coffee table book about Black beauty in Pasadena, Altadena, but now I guess it would be more about like the Black businesses. Like I said, my parents co-founded the Black Business Association of Pasadena, Altadena, and those times just looking when MLK Day came, they used to host the big MLK fundraisers at the beautiful hotel in Pasadena, and then my father brought Juneteenth to the park, and the NAACP is very active in Pasadena and Altadena too. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if any of your listeners have suggestions or they have workspaces. I have transferable skills. You know,
yeah, I just want. I think the first thing that when I was listening the other night as we were having the conversation, and I kind of analyzed. I think I told you this. I said, you know, you don't need me to kind of guide you in what to say and what not to say because you've got a whole story to tell. But what I did analyze is the fact that I want, and this is me personally, I want you to take care of you first. Before there are any moves, before anybody does anything, I need you. Because listen, from now on, from as long as you live, because this happens with me, and I think that a lot of people around here have that same stamp on their membrane or on their brain that, you know, when somebody starts hollering about a hurricane, you know, we trying to find where we going, what time we leaving, packing up. Because when I first heard about hurricanes, I was like, man, I said nothing but a storm. I ain't going nowhere. But now my whole demeanor has changed when we start hearing about hurricanes. It's time to get out of here. I'm getting on a plane. I'm going somewhere because I can't stay again for that. I don't think I could survive it. And then
I receive that.
And what I want you to be able to do is take care of yourself. But the games that's getting ready to be played by these folks from the insurance companies, mortgage companies, the carpetbaggers, those folks that are going to come in there. And then, you know, if you have a set of older folks, we're going to have to look out for them too, because they're going to have a lot of contractors that are going to come in and tell them, you know, you pay me this amount of money, I'll come in and rebuild your whole house. And they're going to take their money and leave.
Well, that is the one thing that I am grateful for about our community is that so many people have already organized and have been bringing so much advocacy. Like, even though, like, you know, FEMA and insurance people are sending people, no, we are doing our own work, bringing in people and hosting our own town hall meetings with just each other. There's a lot of private groups and a lot of private meetings that are happening to help kind of keep our elderly safe and make sure that they are clear about, you know, what people are offering them and what they are not, what it's going to take, and giving them the side-by-side assistance that they need. So
well, let me ask you this, too, because I want to get into, because my music's playing. You got like 5-10 more minutes? Because I know I've been talking to you for now an hour and a half. It don't sound like it, but it's been an hour and a half. So hold on 1 minute. Let my production guy do what he got to do here. My producer's telling me he got to play some commercials. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Leo Jackson, host of Sunday Gospel here every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 o'clock till 2 p.m. You don't want to miss this move of God. It happens only on WBOK. You listen to all day long.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
I'm Howard Robertson, founder and creator of the Play Ode app. Back in the day, we used to ask, how you living? And that's still a relevant question today. Listening to good stuff helps you live well, like what you hear on the Play Ode app. ODE stands for Our Digital Entertainment, so you enjoy the best radio stations playing the best classic R&B, hip-hop, gospel, smooth jazz, news, sports, and podcasts. And new sounds are coming at you in 2025, so don't wait or hesitate. Download PLAYODE today.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Do you know what United Way can do for you and your community? Find out by listening to United Way and You every Thursday at noon on WBOK 1230. United Way continues to fight for the most vulnerable members of the community. Find out how this Thursday and every Thursday at noon.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the whole water stove, Pastor David Impartian Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
Sunday mornings are reserved for a good word on WBOK. This Sunday, be sure to catch Dr. Kevin Stevens Sr., the pastor of Christian Unity Church, for service and a powerful, full, inspiring word. Listen live every Sunday morning right here on WBOK.
Talk That. Noel Education is all about awareness. Join Dr. Jaquil Ross from New Schools for New Orleans to learn how our schools in Orleans Parish are performing academically compared to other parishes. Tune in for Talk That this Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m.
I'm Howard Robertson, founder and creator of the Play Ode app. Back in the day, we used to ask, how you living? And that's still a relevant question today. Listening to good stuff helps you live well, like what you hear on the Play Ode app. ODE stands for Our Digital Entertainment, so you enjoy the best radio stations playing the best classic R&B, hip-hop, gospel, smooth jazz, news, sports, and podcasts. And new sounds are coming at you in 2025, so don't wait or hesitate. Download PLAYODE today.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Gerard Stevens with you. Find a few minutes here before we get ready to call it a day. On the phone with us, a resident of Altadena, California, also part of the area of California that got ravaged by fire, which has not been a good thing for a lot of folks out there. And I don't even want to try to imagine what they're going through. Our good friend Kimberly is on the phone with us. Kimberly, now that you have seen, and I guess you're learning all the tricks in the trade that's coming up here too, because folks are protecting themselves then, correct?
Yes, they are. They really are. So even in their trauma and their sadness, they are ready to fight. They're not ready. You know, it's going to be really interesting just to see what happens, because you can already see. So like a couple of days after, the whole Church of Scientology was up trying to give water and talk to people about if they were homeowners or not. And they had wanted a part of Altadena called Lavinia years ago, and they didn't get it. So you can see what you're calling like the carpetbag. You can see the people who are coming, you know, and for some people, a lot of, like I said, the older Americans, as I call them, the older Americans, they're tired. They don't want to wait. They want to enjoy the rest of their life. Potato to them. They live where they like. But Black families are really, like working together through their churches, through community organizations, through other organizations that have come alongside as allies from other communities, to help people keep and remain in their homes. And not just Black families, but there's a lot of Latino-owned families too. I mean, a lot of Latinos who own homes there too. And so it is nice to see everybody trying to work together just to make sure, like, hey, and they are holding feet to the fire. I mean, a lot of these meetings are not being publicized, but hard questions are being asked. And I'm not the only person who is curious to a lot of the stranger things that have happened surrounding this fire. Yes, it was windy. Yes, the fire happened, but you couldn't alert. I don't know. I just feel like there was gross negligence. Where, how, who? That I cannot answer.
So did you see the photos? I guess the video of, I don't know who this was, but either a man was walking in the front door of his house and he was talking to his wife, and they started the video camera. It's like, you need to see this.
That was in Eaton Canyon. That's where the fire first started. So that was right at dusk. I have a video I was going to send you, but I didn't get permission, where my friends she was coming in from work and she stopped to get something to eat. She was headed up to her area, and it wasn't even really dark, and it was things all on fire around. That's what I'm saying. They know. And again, NASA and JPL, like, the fact that they're saying that they don't have aerial, they know everything that happens in that city. When I had my salon, and this was back in mid 2000s, before I went to Oregon, you come down Lake, you make a right. That's a bus route. A big old bus had made a right and slid into the hardware store's window. Now, it's 5:30 in the morning. That's what time I go to work, 5:30 in the morning. I had a client call me, and she says to me, and this is like 2012, 13, somewhere around there, and she says to me, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "I see the bus hit the business next to you. There was no news crew. There was nobody out there. There were no helicopters." So I'm just not buying. For me personally, I don't know. I'm just not buying that there wasn't anything that could have been done to help at least prevent people from. I don't know. They couldn't turn off the gas. They couldn't tell anybody to turn off the gas. They couldn't tell anybody to turn, because that's really. It wasn't like, as you can see, again, it's not the landscape. It's not the trees that are, or the, it's the homes themselves. They were like imploding. They were like blowing up.
Yeah, I just want to welcome you to our new club, our new member, ladies and gentlemen. Her name is Kimberly Gamel, and she is the new member of the Conspiracy Theory Club. Yes, she is. She has a card. You are now a card-carrying member. Yeah.
I don't know. And we may never know, right? It'll be my great-great-grandchildren who'll probably get the story 100 years later. Who knows?
But they didn't already started filing lawsuits, though, right?
They have. They've already started filing lawsuits against SCE. But, now they're all blaming each other, right? SCE is blaming Southern California Gas. Southern California Gas is. But, again, at 0% containment, why didn't the city? I asked a friend who is part of city management in the city of Pasadena. I said, why didn't Pasadena call up all of their police to go up into Altadena? We're only a mile away from each other. Why didn't they send them? She was like, well, we're two different cities. It's like that county.
Yeah, jurisdiction.
It just doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, they don't want to go into somebody else's jurisdiction. It's posturing. That's all.
Really? We went all the way to Palisades, though. And Palisades is an hour away from Altadena.
Yes, indeed.
So we don't want to go into nobody else's city? I don't
right.
Like that
well, not when it's not convenient, though. You know what I'm saying? It's not convenient. So tell me about this GoFundMe account.
To be honest with you, my daughter, she created it. She posted it. She's on Instagram at Skies Fallen. My sister may know. I went off on everybody. I was so mortified that she'd even put it together, and she was like, well, it's too late now. It's done, and people care about you, and they want to help and support you. I can just tell you my name, Kimberly Gamel. I don't even know how you research a GoFundMe. You
know nothing about the GoFundMe.
I don't. I have not. I haven't even seen it. I only heard about it. So I saw one picture, and I'm like, why would you use that picture? That's horrible. But no, I don't. So
You heard about the picture?
No, she sent me the picture that she used because I wanted to, you always want to know what did they use as a picture. So she showed me the picture, but I don't have the link. I believe my sister does. I mean, I could definitely forward it to you. I would imagine if you put my name in, Kimberly Gamel, it's KymberlyGamell, Kimberly Gamel at GoFundMe. I believe that might be how it works. There's also, I think maybe I've seen other friends who have GoFundMe, and that's, kind of how they look. But I haven't even looked at it, honestly.
Have mercy. Yes, indeed.
Because, again, maybe it is pride. Maybe it is, I'm going to figure it out. I don't know. I appreciate all the support or non-support or support. There's so many people.
Are you
who
coming
need the
here?
Support. I am.
You are?
I will be there. Yeah, I'm going to come. You guys need to warm up a little bit. You guys are still sliding around on ice.
Not today, because our temperature today is probably like 50, 55 degrees.
No, I'm thinking Sunday. I'll probably come Sunday or Monday, and then I'll stay for a couple of days. Yeah, so I'll be in town.
So yeah, like we put together like a little meet and greet and have folks that want to meet you. Because we've already gotten calls. And also folks asking, where is the GoFundMe?
Okay.
And then the other part of we're getting calls from folks out in LA. Mm-hmm. They're calling us also asking, where are you?
Oh, I'm in I'm currently in Altadena, but I'm currently in Atlanta, but I live in Altadena. Definitely our school is going to be hosting something for the fire department and the community next month during Black History Month. Again, my partner, co-founder of Borner's Barber College, if people want to donate, one thing that I would like to, if people decide they don't want to use their resources that way, is really important. The community has been great in giving like soaps and conditioners and, all these things, but they're not specific to the specific needs of Black women, Black men, and Black children. So we need like brushes, wave caps, shampoo, conditioner, products that we really can use. There's a huge Asian beauty supply. I asked them and they were like, no, we can give you 10% off. They didn't want to donate. And what people don't understand in this industry, we can't, even as a wholesaler myself, can't go direct to, because there's a middleman distributor, and all the distributors for the beauty supplies are Asian. So, we are really wanting to make gift backs. That's sad, especially. See, I know this because I grew up when my parents had beauty supply. He told me to keep all of his accounts before he died, but we used to work directly with Clairol. Now you have to work through Procter & Gamble or Wella bought Clairol. It's so much bureaucracy, but we really want to be able to support the people in our community with things that they actually need, right? Like, because when you look good, you feel good. And so we are accepting donations at Borner's Barber College for hair care products and supplies for Black men and women, aftershave, post-shave, razors, clipper sets, so people can begin to cut their little boys' hair at home if they need to. The school, Borner's Barber College in Pasadena, we are giving free haircuts to anybody in the Altadena, Pasadena community who was affected by the fire. And we're located at 1284 North Lake Avenue, Pasadena, California, Borner's Barber College in Pasadena. And so, yeah, that's how everyone can help. We all help each other because, a lot of the women are calling and saying, God, I wish I could wash my hair. I wish I could get my hair cut. That's the last thing you want to do when you're still trying to figure out where you live, and everything needs to be bought. Your kids need shoes. You need shoes. You need a new purse. They need a new jacket. They need shoes. So we really want to meet that need for our community, making sure that our little girls feel great. The organization Dina Strong, they came out, they saw 130 people at Pasadena City College. FEMA asked them not to come back on Monday, and so we opened the doors, and then they went ahead and turned around this past Monday and served maybe about 50 to 60 people. And we had braiders, we had barbers come in from here, Atlanta, from Colorado, from Vegas. They had some barbers come in. The girls are from Arizona. Shout out to Tara and Paige and Darshell. They came and they put together something really nice. Wolfgang Puck donated lunches, and Ghost Einstein's Bagel donated food. And so, again, this is the long game. So we'll be doing this for months to come to help support the people who are able to stay in the community, or at least come back and get the services and receive the love and support, for all of us, for each other.
So while you were talking, I did a little research.
You did.
That's a nice photo of you doing hair.
Is it? I think I was commuting at that time because I told you I always tether. And so I used to fly in on the weekends and work sometimes in Pasadena. And then I was living in Oregon, in Ashland, Oregon at the time, working with Oregon Shakespeare Festival.
That's
so,
a nice photo.
Yeah.
At
yeah.
your
It
station.
doesn't really look, I mean, you know.
And let me see. Sky is your daughter?
Sky is my daughter. She's at Sky's Fallen.
Yeah, Sky Johnson. She's the one
Sky
that organized
Johnson.
okay.
She did. She organized it for her mother. Yeah.
That's
and I have a daughter that I'm trying to keep in college. I've been able to. So, yeah, GoFundMe does help because it was very important to me that my daughter didn't graduate with student loans. And so we've been working hard, me and her father, to make sure in our community, you know, we've been paying for her college. And this year will be the first year that I will have to seek assistance for a student loan for her, you know, on my behalf. Fortunately, she's a senior. But, yeah, we didn't want her to have that debt, and she graduated. So, yeah.
I got it now.
Or if they can tell me about any grants we can apply for. You know, there is one place that I've always wanted to volunteer. I love there in New Orleans, the African American Museum. I love that place there.
Which one? Because we have several of them.
It's in Treme. I believe it's in Treme. It looks like it's an old plantation house.
Yeah.
I actually looked at a job there recently. I had my sister laughing, but I was like, that's got a page of 10 responsibilities. And, you know, I don't know.
Well, when you get here, we'll
yes.
try to make some connections.
Yes,
also try to make some connections with Beverly McKenna. She also owns a couple of the African American museums. I know she owns one right off of Esplanade.
Okay.
And I think there are 2 African American museums in Treme.
Yeah.
So,
I always wonder, I come every year for Essence. I was actually at Essence when Hurricane Katrina, I had just left the day before. But why there's not like big, beautiful activations at these museums during Essence Festival time?
Well, they should be. There's a lot of things that I could probably talk to you about on that one, but I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice.
Okay.
But,
Okay, well, be nice.
I am going to post on my page here real quick. I think I did, if I'm not mistaken. If I didn't, I'll do it when I get off the air when I can pay attention. Your GoFundMe.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So that it will be up and folks can go ahead and just get the link and go to it. So, but listen, while you're doing everything that you're doing, I know you're busy, and I know that keeping yourself busy is important. But be careful. Keep your head up. Just look at this as something that's going to be or end up being something great for you and your folks. I know that you're trying to help them all, but I also want you to take care of you. And that has been probably one of the hardest things for you to say today. But no, in all seriousness, please, you know, and I ain't going to tell you to slow down. I just want you to take care of you. All right.
I have one favor. Don't put that video up of me cursing. My
I got.
My pastor and them will be looking at me.
I'm putting all of that up. She got potty mouth.
Well, they might know that. But.
No. I didn't put that up. I didn't put that up at all. But yeah.
Thank you.
We love you.
And thank you for having me. Thanks to your
Absolutely.
station
Thank
for
you for
allowing
joining
me to share
us.
my story and the story of my community. So.
Well, we'll make it a point to do it again.
All right. Peace and blessings to everyone. Thank you.
All right, Miss Kimberly,
Bye-bye.
thank you much. All righty.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we got to take a break. We'll take the break here and we'll come back. More coming up, y'all, right here on WBOK.
That's right. It's party time each and every Sunday night at 7 p.m. on WBOK. It's the Throwback Throwdown with DJ Wick as he brings you the best in old school from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2Ks. Plus, the party goes to another level at 9 p.m. with the Throwback Throwdown Party Mix to round out the night. It's the Throwback Throwdown Sunday nights at 7 p.m. on WBOK 1230 a.m. and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Flu, COVID, and RSV put older adults at higher risk of hospitalization. Get vaccinated to be ready for whatever comes next.
Hey, Grandma.
Get this season's vaccines. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present Keeping You Well Cafe. 60 Minutes with LCMC Health, where the doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of care here in New Orleans, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. At the Keeping You Well Cafe, LCMC Health joins WBOK and local businesses to answer your questions about wellness and health.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
WBOK is pleased to announce the reboot of Crosstown Conversations with host Gene Nathan. A heightened focus on cultural entertainment events and the creators who present them. The new time is now Saturday at noon. Tune into the stories of our exploding creative scene with Gene Nathan on Crosstown Conversation.
This is the coach, Garrett Sasheray. The Sports Report is coming up next on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. About 5 minutes now before we get ready to call it a day here. Mr. Harrow.
Yes.
What's going on?
The creep is here that you all call president, which I will never address as president. The military helicopters just flew over my head. So I was listening to, what's her name, Kimberly?
Yes.
She's smart. She's educated. Of course, some things she don't quite know as I listen to her. So Pasadena is about 18 miles from downtown Los Angeles. So anyway, I estimate it's going to take between 8 and 10 years to rebuild it.
Probably.
And say that again?
I said probably. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. Mark my word. She mentioned the black woman mayor that was the Pasadena mayor, and my brother, her cousin was my brother's girlfriend. So what I'm saying is, well, if you go on the internet and put Loretta Glickman in there, then you get a full story of her being mayor of Pasadena. So Pasadena used to be a racist kind of a place. Okay, Pasadena has always been dressed up. I have friends in Pasadena. In Altadena, the Bears come to their swimming pool to have parties. Okay, it will be built back, and the attitude of Altadena, how can I tell you? It was kind of, they felt like they were kind of, I can't find the word. But it will be built back. And what she said, they didn't get the warning as to, like they should have. And setting fires seems to be the new kind of terrorism and warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Places where fires never should have happened, they're being started. And here last night, somebody set a car on fire. So these fires are not just, driven by nature. That people set the fires. And like I told you before, on one of the other fires, they called a fireman setting the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And these are their people. When I say their people, not our people, that are setting the fires. So anyway, I was listening to her, and she said she might leave, which who am I to say? Which is not a good thing. And you've got this what do you call it? Gentrification?
Gentrification. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going on all over the place.
Yep.
Now, I'm a member of the Apartment Owners Association of Los Angeles. A Mideastern came by and offered to buy. You can sell an outhouse here. I had a friend in Pasadena. He's deceased. He paid $20-some thousand for his house years ago, and some so-called white people came by maybe 5 years ago, and offered him $300,000, and they tore his house down, and they built another house there, a big house. So anyway, it's happening all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So anyway, I'm sitting out in the sun. Life is good, and it should be good for everybody that wants it to be good.
Yeah.
And what can I tell you?
Okay.
I run out of conversation.
Well, that's all right, because we out of time. Because we not only running out of conversation, we ran out of time. So we got to go.
I just want to tell you, I whenever I can, I listen to this colored station because I'm kind of black.
But every once in a while, we all are. So that's good.
I'm toying with you.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend.
You do the same, my friend. I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right. Yes, indeed. Mr. Harold out in Los Angeles. That's going to wrap things up for us on today. Appreciate everybody for being part of the conversation. We will see you on Monday. Dr. Shepard should be back with us on Monday, so make sure that you check us out, all right? Go to my Facebook page, Gerard G. Man Stevens, because I put it on my Facebook page where you can go on the GoFundMe site and help out Kimberly with her plight as she is now in the, I guess, in the area of moving around. She's moving around. All right. So I posted it on my Facebook page. It's GoFundMe. It says donate to help my mom recover from the Eaton Canyon fire damage organized by Scott Johnson. So you can go and see it for yourself. All right. Y'all have a safe weekend. Stay out the snow. Ta-ha. We'll see you Monday. The Sports Report's up next.
On Bourbon Street, the music played, a city alive where dreams were made. But shadows fell on that fateful night as hearts were shattered, lost in the fight. We gather here in the glow of the light to honor those gone, to hold them tight. With every tear we'll remember their names. In the heart of New Orleans, the love still remains. Oh, we'll never forget spirits will soar, no matter the cost. New Orleans, we stand, united and strong. In the face of the darkness, we'll carry along. To the families grieving, we send all our love. Their memories shine like stars up above. From the jazz in the streets to the river's embrace, New Orleans will rise, it will never lose grace. Through pain and through sorrow, we'll find our way. With courage and strength, we'll face every day. For every soul taken, we'll carry.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK 1230 AM,
Go,
and Equity Media Station.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Police now say 2 people are dead and 2 others are injured after a shooting at a Nashville, Tennessee high school this morning. They add 2 female students were shot by a 17-year-old male student. The shooter then turned the gun on himself. Black Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is issuing an emergency order to prepare burn areas for rain, directing crews to clear debris, shore up hillsides, and protect the stormwater system from fire-related pollutants. Refugee flights to the U.S. have stopped after President Trump suspended the State Department's program, leaving thousands of Afghan refugees, including vetted ones, at risk. Some are now stranded abroad. And Barnstable County, Massachusetts is honoring Jeanne Morrison, chair of its Human Rights Advisory Commission, with the Martin Luther King Jr. Day Award for her decades of work advancing equity and justice on Cape Cod. I'm Amber Payton on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
WBOK 1230 AM, online at WBOK1230.com.
We got something new, we got something new. Well, if you rate it like you ate it, like a movie review. You see, we get 5 stars for each of us, so let us tell you.